Welcome to The Explainer. We are jumping right into it today. We've got two titans of industry, a fiercely direct judge, and a massive breach of contract lawsuit that could literally rewrite the rules of the tech industry. I mean, this isn't just your standard corporate dispute over shares or intellectual property. No, it's a trillion-dollar civil war over the founding nonprofit charter of OpenAI, and ultimately, over who actually controls the path to artificial general intelligence. So, who controls the most powerful technology in human history? To understand who's going to dictate our technological future, you really have to look closely at the power players locked in this conflict right now. Consider this your investigative dossier. We're going to completely dissect this massive tension between open source democratization and proprietary control. We'll examine the ruthless legal discovery process that is literally keeping Silicon Valley awake at night, and the immense global policy fallout rippling all the way from these corporate boardrooms straight to Washington.
All right, let's jump straight into Act 1, the founding rift.
Let's dive into this timeline. Picture this. Back in 2015, Elon Musk and Sam Altman actually bonded over a shared, profound fear. They were terrified of Google achieving this unchecked monopoly on artificial intelligence. And that shared anxiety led to a massive billion-dollar pledge to create OpenAI as a pure nonprofit. The explicit goal was to develop AI safely and transparently for the benefit of humanity rather than for corporate dividends. But actually, scratch that. That incredibly altruistic foundation is exactly what structurally set the stage for today's multi-billion-dollar fracture. When you promise to give away the most powerful technology in history for free, but suddenly realize you need billions of dollars in computing power to actually build it, the tension becomes completely unsustainable. And as we look toward the future, the fallout from this shattered relationship is going to establish the definitive legal precedents for the next generation of AI. Now, what's really interesting to look at here is how this deep-seated ideological rift boils down to two fundamentally opposed philosophies on exactly how to fund and govern AI. On one hand, we've got Musk's absolutist view on open source safety. He argues that the company has fundamentally betrayed its original nonprofit mission by just hiding its code from the public. On the other hand, we have Altman's defense, the team's pivot to a highly controversial capped profit model. What a capped profit model essentially does is cap the returns for investors, acting as a structural compromise to attract the massive billions in compute funding required to train modern AI, while theoretically leaving that original nonprofit board in ultimate control. Altman argues that AGI simply requires way too much capital to remain a pure donation-funded nonprofit. So it's a massive clash, right? Open source idealism smashing headfirst into the staggering capital-intensive reality of modern tech.
Which brings us to Act 2, the courtroom battlefield.
At the absolute center of this storm is the judge holding the gavel. This is a costly, incredibly complex showdown, overseen by a fiercely no-nonsense judge who is just completely immune to typical Silicon Valley legal obfuscation. In the specific jurisdictions handling these high-stakes tech clashes, judges have literally seen every trick in the corporate playbook. They're taking a highly direct approach to the law and moving the discovery phase along aggressively. For companies that thrive on absolute secrecy and carefully managed PR, a judge who demands total transparency and refuses to indulge endless legal maneuvering, that is the ultimate wild card. Because of that aggressive discovery phase, the court's rapid pace has left legal teams totally scrambling. The absolute refusal to allow standard delay tactics means that highly sensitive internal communications are being forcefully dragged right into the public record. And we aren't just talking about generic corporate memos here. This process is forcing intimate, late-night text messages, extremely candid emails from way back in 2015, and highly classified board minutes, including the behind-the-scenes maneuvers from that infamous weekend Altman was briefly ousted, directly into the public eye. It is fundamentally stripping away the intense secrecy that these multi-billion-dollar companies completely rely on just to maintain their competitive edge.
Let's move on to Act 3, the trillion-dollar stakes.
The financial weight of this conflict is absolutely staggering. We're talking millions lost in mounting legal fees. But here's the thing. The true cost here isn't just the literal attorney fees hitting the balance sheets. I mean, for companies worth hundreds of billions, legal bills are basically just a drop in the bucket. The real financial hemorrhage comes from the immense operational bottleneck. This lawsuit is creating a massive brain drain. It completely distracts top-tier leadership and slows down engineering momentum for both Tesla and OpenAI. While their CEOs are locked in this sprawling legal war, highly skilled engineers are just left waiting around, and competitors are racing to close the gap. And this brilliantly illustrates the macro financial impact on the wider industry. We are tracking massive potential shifts in OpenAI's valuation directly against broader AI investor confidence. You kind of have to understand the investor psychology at play here.
Think about it. If Musk wins this lawsuit and successfully forces OpenAI to open source its proprietary, state-of-the-art models, the multi-billion-dollar investments from entities like Microsoft could instantly lose their entire competitive moat. Gone. The whole AI investment landscape is essentially holding its breath right now. Billions of dollars in venture capital are hanging delicately in the balance, waiting to see if proprietary tech will be heavily protected or if the courts are going to force it to be given away for free.
All right, let's zoom out for Act 4, the future of AGI. We are ultimately looking at two fundamentally incompatible visions that are going to dictate our day-to-day lives. Let's map it out. If Musk wins, a forced shift toward open-source transparency means that incredibly powerful AI is democratized. Anyone, anywhere, could download and build upon these models. But that also means it potentially falls into the hands of bad actors without any centralized guardrails. Alternatively, if Altman prevails, the closed-door proprietary model solidifies as the absolute industry standard. The technology remains highly controlled and potentially safer from malicious use, but the trade-off is immense. We are essentially trusting a single corporate board with the future of human knowledge and global economic leverage. No pressure, right? The outcome of this specific legal battle is going to set ironclad precedents. It won't just settle a score between two billionaires. It is going to write the absolute blueprint for global AI legislation. Washington lawmakers are watching this case so closely to figure out exactly how to regulate AI moving forward. This single verdict will heavily influence the next generation of AI safety legislation, dictating everything from data privacy to copyright law. Make no mistake, the winner of this courtroom showdown is going to shape the ultimate path to artificial general intelligence. They are defining the rules for a technology that will impact every single industry on Earth. So what does this all mean? It leaves us with the ultimate paradox. Is closed-source development an absolute necessity to protect humanity from the dangers of unchecked AGI? Or is that closed-door approach just a convenient shield for unprecedented, monopolistic profit, proving Musk right about the betrayal of OpenAI's original mission? Look at the hard facts, analyze the corporate fallout, and ponder who truly holds the right vision for humanity's most powerful technology. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and definitely keep your eyes on the courts.